are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
host of Locked On Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. You can subscribe to Locked On Rays on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Odyssey, online at fanstreamsports.com, and also on YouTube as well. Be sure to also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays, and email us lockedonrays@gmail.com. Well, your Tampa Bay Rays dropped 2 of 3 over the weekend to the Detroit Tigers in Detroit. However, the Rays stand still at 89-53, 9 games up on the Blue Jays and Red Sox, 10 games up on the New York Yankees. Ulises, I think we're all in agreement that we wish that the Rays weekend went a little bit better, but what can you do? So you win some, you lose some, I guess.
You said 53 losses. For those who are listening and really upset about how this weekend in Detroit went, I will be spoiler man and tell you that the Rays will lose 7 more games. Every team loses 60. So that's number one. It sucks the way that it happened. At least, Sundays, you had the lead twice. It all was but wrapped up, and then the bullpen doesn't come through. I feel like, part of my takeaway is still to talk about the unsung heroes in such bullpen. But I just want to say this regarding kind of the late leads that are being blown up lately. It's okay. Every team goes through this. I feel like Rays Nation is getting a little bit spoiled.
Yes.
Rays Nation is getting a little bit too bratty. I'm calling you out, people, because 89-53, Kevin. They give up 2 games, and I know that people are going to say, well, it's the Tigers. They're not supposed to lose against the Tigers. It's a major league club too. And besides what we have done, or what we haven't done it, we have seen it. What the Rays have done against the Orioles, it shouldn't happen. 18-1, that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be how things roll in a season, even if you are a World Series champ, or at least a contender for that. Teams play against each other, and it's going to be tough sometimes, even the Detroit Tigers team. And you said it very well. This team had nice pieces, and you think that they could win 80 games next year. I feel like they're still a couple of years away from that, but you could see the growth, that you could see that there are pieces that are very interesting. You got Scope, you got Cabrera in a hot streak, you got Grossman, you got nice little things around it. Casey Mize pitched really. I think he was the one that was the stain, and he's going to be part of their future too. So I feel like it's okay, and Rays Nation is getting a little bit too spoiled, bratish, and another synonym that I really can't come up with right now, Kevin.
And I feel like a lot of that is social media overreacting to one quick thing. I'm going to take the approach of patience. Let's let everything play out. Not everybody can be perfect all the time, every time. If Andrew Kittredge was perfect all the time, if David Robertson was perfect all the time, if JP Fireeisen was perfect all the time, they'd be Trevor. So we have to. The other team, the other franchise, the other guys get paid too. They're also at the top of their game, so to speak. They're not as good of a team as the Rays, but they certainly have some fight in them. I certainly don't want to see any more Jonathan Scope the rest of the season, or any more Jeimer Candelario. And Candelario, by the way, is actually a really, really good player.
Yeah.
If not for the cavernous Comerica ballpark, he would probably have 25, 30 home runs. Right now he has 40 doubles. So you wonder if he was playing somewhere else where things would shake out. So I think we have to, just like I'm going to try to exude patience with Michael Wacha, try to exude patience with Shane McClanahan, try to exude patience with Luis Patino, Wander Franco when he just got called up. Let's give these guys a chance. They're going to fail. every now and again. Heck, there's always a run where a player struggles for a little bit.
And this isn't to say that the bullpen struggles concerns are not valid. Yeah, it sucks of course it sucks to see, your guys blow lead slates, but I feel like it's not a cause of concern. You know what? Call me anybody who is upset about what happened in Detroit. Let's talk about it after the 6 games against the Toronto Blue Jays. If this keeps happening, then yeah, I'll join you in your in your bandwagon of saying that this is concerning. But let's wait until those 6 Blue Jays games. But moving on from this,
can I just say this? And I understand that people want to bring up the bullpen. What I would think is more concerning is what's Wander Franco's status going to be in a couple weeks?
Right.
How is Shane McClanahan feeling? What about Chris Archer? And let's also remember, okay, some of these guys are struggling in the bullpen. I'm probably most concerned about JP Fireeisen. Can't throw a strike, and there's not I've never been all that high on that guy, but it's not like he's supposed to be the closer. But you have your Nick Anderson supposedly at full strength. That should help move things along a little bit, seemingly. So I'll just put that out there and let you take the floor here.
Yeah, no, of course. And I agree with you there. It'll be nice to have Nick Anderson back. Going to the meat of my takeaway, though, the unsung heroes. So let's get happy, people. Let's talk about the bullpen that has carried this team for such a long time. And the first guy, Dietrich Enns, what an outing on Saturday. 4 innings pitched, no hits allowed, no walks allowed, 6 punch outs. Really has turned his season around. 6 games, 1-0 record, a 3.38 ERA, 16 innings pitched, 19 Ks, 119 whip. When he first came up, his first outing was that clunker mess from Fleming at Fenway. And he didn't really look that good. And I even said, look, if you're losing by 10 and you're giving up walks, what are we doing here?
Right.
He has turned himself around from there, and he showed it on Saturday what he can do. So let's give props to Dietrich Enns. But even better than Dietrich Enns, Louis Head. What Louis Head has provided this bullpen is a John Curtis, Aaron Sleeger's, kind of season all put together in one. 22 games, 1-0 record, a 2.76 ERA in 29 1/3 innings pitched, 27 Ks, and a .95 whip. Love that .95 whip. I want to ask you a question, quick trivia question, Kevin. Mm-hmm. Do you know how many of those 20-odd outings he allowed runs in?
Louis Head, I would say 4.
And you would be right on the money. Very good. 4 outings he has allowed a run. Incredible. Incredible stuff from somebody who has gone up and down a dozen times the Durham St. Pete trolley shuffle that happens. Incredible season what Louis Head has been doing. If he can keep it up, I feel like this is a guy that you want to keep. You were able to talk to him in a way that he understood how his slider needed to work, the slot, not so up and down, but more of a horizontal break. Kyle Snyder and the front office saw that, and the coaching staff, and they were able to get him to be so effective, and he was able to perform, and he's been able to execute. And I feel like there are times where we highlight the big names on this team because they're the big names for a reason, right? Because they're the most stable, they're the most productive, and of course you're going to highlight those guys. But I feel like in a team like the Rays, a Louis Head and a Dietrich Enns, they need to be put on the platform sometimes.
Dietrich Enns is going to get a start later on this week, if I'm not mistaken. Who would have thought a team that is most likely going to win the pennant is going to have a guy named Dietrich Enns starting a game for them in September baseball? Crazy to think.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, are Dietrich Enns and Louis Head on the playoff roster? Or do they make any playoff roster for the Rays this year?
Yes, they do.
Both of them, or one or the other?
Definitely Louis Head.
Okay.
I feel like he has earned that right. But to Dietrich Enns, prowess, when you can throw 4 innings of shutout baseball from the left side, that could win you some points. I mean, if you are looking at this roster construction right now for October for the ALDS, and you need one more lefty to cover some innings, who are you going to call? Enns or Fleming?
That's a good point. As of right now, I would say, and maybe this is just recency bias, but Dietrich Enns with the way his stuff has looked as of late. Also, are those guys on the team next season?
Louis Head, I don't think so.
Okay.
Dietrich Enns might. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one.
I feel like Louis Head would be more likely to go because we know how the Rays they shuffle players all the time, but definitely relievers.
Right.
The John Curtis, the Aaron Slegers, the Jose Alvarado. I mean, there's so many guys, and I think I'm leaving some guys out that they've gotten rid of. Hunter Strickland, for example. So they fix them and then move them along, and that's kind of how it goes. But if you've got a lefty that can give you 4 to 5 and can throw 96 top of the zone and work a cutter off that or a slider, that you might have something there, even though he doesn't have a lot of pedigree and he was just coming from independent ball. Look, Ulises, I hate to say this, but I blame this series loss on you because you were so gaga and so gleeful that you were able to watch Miggy Cabrera cheering him on, even when he scores and gets a hit against the Rays. So this is some bad mojo on you. I'm going to push that along. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, but I have to. I have to call you out with that.
That's okay. There are 4 games left, and I feel like if the Rays win, the series at the Tropicana Field, everybody will be just fine. Yeah. But, I get it. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Nobody wants to see their team get walked off with a walk.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I think that strike zone somehow got a little bit cornerless as it went on, as that
possibly.
Went on. But again, you don't. Again, yeah.
He didn't. Fire eyes, and nobody earned those strikes there that was pitching for the Rays.
No. And so that's the point. You gotta be better. You gotta be better. You can't give up walks in extra innings. You gotta attack the strike zone. That's not what JP did, but that's okay. Again, it's okay. 89 and 53. Small reminder: the Rays are going to lose at least 7 more games.
Yes.
Everybody, hold on to their pants. Go find your belt. Find the last hole and just clamp that bad boy in there.
People mad at Ulises, you can find him on Saturday at the Rays game wearing a Miggy Cabrera jersey and a Rays hat. I think that's what's going to happen.
A confused fan. Dude, I hate that. I hate when people just wear 2 different things in a stadium. Like, no, you pick one. Dummy. You can pick. You can't tell people, well, I have a story. Well, my parents lived in Detroit, and so no. Pick one. Pick one. I don't need your biography. Pick one.
Can I wear a Lightning hat in a Rays shirt, or is it just sport? I can't wear a Tigers hat in a Rays jersey.
You're a Tampa Bay. I love it. Okay. Good for you for supporting the community and all the teams that it has to provide. But don't give me the Indians, Angels crap. Stop.
Don't be LeBron James where you're wearing a Yankees cap and an Indians jersey or whatever, or vice versa.
Yeah, no.
By the way, Miggy Cabrera, do you know what his nickname is by any chance?
In Spanish, es el papá de los helados.
Okay, what does that mean?
The father of the ice creams.
Okay. Is he a big ice cream fan or connoisseur?
I don't know the origin of that, but is there another nickname?
I don't know. When I was watching him over the course of this weekend, even at his advanced age, and he's not the same player he was a decade, 15 years ago, he still makes it look very, very, very easy at times, especially when there's a run. His name would be Fácil. You're right. He just makes it so easy. I mean, he had 9 straight hits? It's at one point.
9 straight hits, and I think that was with against the Rays in the first game. Yeah, he looked good, man. Again, he doesn't have the bat speed, but he can still has the approach, and when you have the approach, you're able to see the situation and shorten up your swing and go the other way. He doesn't care. Like the home run thing, that's over with. So now when he has bases loaded, he doesn't have to jack it for the 3 strikes. He can just go up the middle, go the other way, and get his team a couple of runs.
Yeah, Randy Arozarena, take some notes. You don't have to go for the fences every single time with that. I will give a shout out to Luis Patino, who was one of the few guys that effectively worked up and away versus Miggy Cabrera and had some success there. Okay, we'll move along. Great takeaways there. Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows. You're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend's login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called Direct TV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part, there's no annual contract. We certainly like that. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. Okay, Ulises, getting to a takeaway or two from my end of things. So this past Friday, we did an interview with Brett Rutherford from the Raise Your Voice podcast, which I believe appears on D-Rays Bay and some other platforms, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, and we were asked to give some of our hot takes, hot baseball takes. And
yes, we did.
Yes, we did. And
that was fun, by the way. It was an hour long, but it was really fun.
Yeah, if you have a chance to check it out, you can find it we retweeted it on social media, and also you could probably just Google Raise Your Voice with Brett Rutherford or visit draysbay.com and find it there. And a lot of fun conversation, and we think you'll enjoy it. But of course, I got some pushback like I usually do with my radical schedule and changing the way baseball operates.
Yes.
And I just want to tie that up a little bit.
Okay.
So over the course of this weekend, this was really the first true football weekend. We were just, maybe not you, Ulises, but a lot of America was consuming from Saturday all through Sunday, football. First college football, and then the NFL. Right. And I put myself into that category, and it almost got to the point of I was so hyped for football, I was almost annoyed that there was a Rays game or Rays games going on. It's like, this is interrupting my football watching ability.
How many football games does the normal, I'm not going to say normal, does the usual American football fan need to like satisfy? Can it just be your own team, like your Colts or your Bucks? Can it just be the one game and you're like, okay, that's good for the week? Traditionally
that, but again, it's Saturday and Sunday. It's tied up. You watch your team, and then you watch the best games of the week.
So you'll watch, okay, oh man, the Ravens are playing against the Packers. Can't miss that. That's going to be great.
If it's a Sunday night game, yes. Yeah.
Oh my.
So if the Colts play at 1 or the Bucks play at 1, you watch that from 1 to 4, and then usually there's a national game from 4 to 7, and then the big Sunday night football game is at 8:15, 8:20 p.m. And then you have Monday night and Thursday night, but and that's everybody is focused on football, fantasy football. What were we seeing on social media? What were we seeing on television? And maybe it's a little bit of first week excitement of football is back. That's what I'm going to do for the next 10 to 12 hours. But that's the way it's going to be.
It was a lot.
Yes. And it's going to continue to be that week throughout the way throughout the fall and winter. And it got me thinking.
Yeah. So what so if you were Manfred, how were your gears turning this weekend, Kevin? What was going on there?
My gears are turning towards making sure the baseball season is totally finished before Labor Day weekend.
Including playoffs?
Including playoffs. All of playoffs are played in the month of August. Start spring training a day after the Super Bowl, and then you have March, April, May, June, July. That's your regular season. You play roughly 25 games a month. So that's a 125 game schedule. Mm-hmm. And then the entire month of August is dedicated to the playoffs. So you are the show for that month before football literally, figuratively, kicks off. Because now there's too much competition going on. It's hard. Like even myself doing a baseball podcast, my attention was diverted with football. I'm sorry.
I understand that. You're a big football fan. I don't buy the whole let's switch what we've been doing for 120 years because another sport, is gaining popularity. Like, let them gain popularity. Do better. You don't need to change the whole game to get better ratings or to get better merchandising, to get people better in the seats. Like, there are already things you could do to better the product. Number one, stop the blackouts. Get people to be fans of the game and get people that are already fans of the game to be able to watch their team, to be a fan. So I think that's better than moving October to August playoffs. And besides, there's something magical about October being the playoffs. Like, the weather has changed, so you've gone through the whole season, and now it's they're playing with mittens. Damn it, for their lives. I mean, Placido Polanco. We talked about him on Friday. Isn't it an iconic moment? Him wearing like an earmuffs headscarf thing and like jumping from second to home when Mowgli Ordonez did the walk-off to send them to the World Series. There's something to Mr. October. I don't know. I feel like that's too much of a radical change. I can hear more of your ideas, but that's just too radical for me.
Hey, how many people watched that Placido Polanco moment when football was going on? That's my concern here.
I don't know. Coffee got me there. I don't know. I feel like that has changed. In 2006, I don't feel like football was as ingrained in our socials as it is right now. And by socials, I don't mean just social media, like in our social life. But yeah, football has gained a lot of popularity.
I'm just saying, with the CBA expiring, here's your chance to really change things and harden up things.
But aren't we going to be? Why are we expecting the CBA to be this life-changing thing? I feel like, honestly, there's going to be like two at the most major changes, and that's it. And major changes might be, arbitration now happens after the second year instead of the third year, and now you have a 27-man roster instead of a 26-man roster. Like, I feel like it's going to be that type of thing, like bureaucratic stuff that is changed, not the actual game.
And universal DH is probably
maybe,
Well, I guess I won't mention the idea that I was also going to have 7-inning games and mercy rules and
mercy rule's fine.
Okay.
Mercy rule, it makes 100% sense to me. Just get it over. Like 10-0. It's the 5th. If you don't want to play, you shouldn't play. If you don't want to have Brett Phillips warming up, you shouldn't have that happen. Look, I get it. That was fun. I love watching Brett Phillips warm up. I don't need to get him hurt. He said that throwing 194-mile-an-hour fastball got him the next day. He was sore because of that. 194-mile-an-hour fastballs. I don't need Brett Phillips to throw 94-mile-an-hour fastballs and get his shoulder sore. Stop it. Mercy rule. That's the way to go.
Yeah, last thing on this, I would love to see what the ratings are between last night's Yankees-Mets game and last night's Rams-Bears Sunday Night Football.
I would love that because it's the New York market, like all of it. And then it's the New York hater market, which is all of America too. So
I would say nobody was watching that game. Very few people were watching that game with the first week of NFL.
Even with A-Rod on the mic? I don't believe you, Kevin Weiss. How dare you talk about A-Rod that way?
Probably turned more people off, quite frankly, with him on the air and everything. But I'm just going to throw it out there. You bring all your hate mail and to see the baseball season wrapped up before Labor Day.
Oof. That's going to be a no for me, dog.
Well, you're not I would like to see people that are general casual sports fans. That's the thing that I'm trying to do is rein in the casual sports fan. You're going to watch and come to games and you're going to consume it regardless.
Yes.
It could be a 50-game schedule, a 300-game schedule. You're still going to be there. I'm trying to attract the people that once Once they see a football coming out of their TV screen, they're out. They're done.
They are. And so what you do that, I think it's, again, the blackout would help so much. The blackout restrictions, I don't know if baseball fans know how much that affects the drop off from fan interaction and then migrating to football. So that, I think that's a really huge one that needs to be talked about more.
I think the other thing is baseball needs to do some sort of major sponsorship with Built Bar. I think that's their next task with the CBA as well.
You know what? If they do that, they would be getting something that's healthy and delicious, and you can too. They've got so many flavors, Kevin. I just can't even remember them all. They've got raspberry, mint, brownie, double chocolate, strawberry, orange, cookies and cream. I mean, orange with chocolate. I mean, it's like you're a mad scientist at built.com. And if you haven't tried all the flavors, you can also get a mixed box where you can get 2 of each of the 9 flavors. They are 17 to 18 grams protein. Calories range from 130 to 180. 4 to 5 grams sugar, and only 4 to 5 grams net carbs. Again, amazing flavors. They're all tasty. They're all healthy. And you can get yourself some if you go to built.com. But before you do that, use the promo code LOCKED15, LOCKED15, and you will get 15% off your order. So use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com.
Well, the Tampa Bay Rays, things don't get any easier for them as they have a 3-game set in Toronto to face the Blue Jays, who are in fuego right now. They stand at 80-63. They have won 14 of their last 16 games. That includes, talk about football scores, a 22-7 drubbing of the Orioles yesterday. They actually scored 44 runs in their 3-game set versus the Orioles. Previous to that, they had swept a 4-game series versus the Yankees in New York and a 3-game series versus the Athletics. But the Rays, this is a good watershed moment for them, facing a Blue Jays team that is extremely, extremely hot, has most of their players available, and they've got their pitching staff lined up. As for the Blue Jays, they're going to likely throw out Alek Manoah, Jose Barrios, and Robbie Ray. And I mentioned Robbie Ray. He could win a Cy Young this year. Toronto could also have an MVP winner as well.
Yeah.
And Vladimir Guerrero. I think that just underscores how this team has really been coming along the last couple weeks.
Yeah, this team kind of turned their season around. If you looked at August, at late August, you could see, oh, well, they had a nice season, but I guess we all, ate up too much of the on-paper talent rather than what was on the field.
They won free agency or the trade deadline. That was their thing, but you gotta win the games on the field. But now they're actually proving
they're doing it.
Yeah.
Now they're doing it. Now they're actually the team that everybody thought that they could be. Kind of the opposite of the San Diego Padres, to be honest with you. But I love the fact that the Rays have 6 games against the Blue Jays on September baseball. Why? Mm-hmm. Because you need that last barometer to tell you, okay, how good are you? You need that playoff atmosphere before the playoffs. You need to show your players, hey, every pitch matters. And I feel like this matchup, these 6 games against the Blue Jays, are that playoff warm-up atmosphere for you to get really into it. And the Jays want it. They want it hard. Mm-hmm. They're still not in, so they're fighting for something. The Rays now, are fighting for their own ego and for their own accolades of, can we get to 100 wins, which has never happened in franchise history. Can you get a double-digit lead in the division? They're very close of doing that. Can we get over the bullpen late leads being squandered in the last week? I feel like they can. I think so. It'll be very interesting, and I love that the Rays are going to be facing a very hot team with the advantage that they have in the division. I wouldn't like this 6 games against the Blue Jays if the division lead was 3 games or 4 games. I would be kind of very tense. But because it's 9 games, I feel like that's why I like this matchup. You've got the safety net, but you still need to, you'll still see playoff atmosphere type baseball, and it's a great barometer for the Rays.
Yeah, and the pitching staff for the Rays as well, because this Blue Jays offense is insane with some of the numbers that they've put up this year. I mentioned Vlad Guerrero as an MVP candidate. He might very well win the Triple Crown when it's all said and done. He has 44 home runs. He has the highest batting average. Well, I think his home runs are tied with Shohei Ohtani at 44.
Yes.
He has the highest batting average in the AL, 319 above Yuli Gurriel's 315. And he's tied for third with 102 RBIs with his teammate Teoscar Hernandez. Jose Abreu leads that with 107. So I'm actually going to throw it out right now. Ulises, prop bet. Does Vladdy win the Triple Crown this year? Yes or no? Okay.
100% no.
All right.
100% no. Bookmark this audio. No.
Why?
It's too difficult because it's too difficult. No. And besides, Ohtani and Salvador Perez are right behind him with home runs, or at least right there with him. It's going to be a tight race. And guess what? Austin Meadows has 3 weeks left to really
Meadows,
get on.
He's not even in the conversation.
He's top 5, baby.
They're not going to play him versus lefty. He's not.
Come on. Don't do this to me. I mean, maybe. But it's a very outside shot that he wins it. So I'm going to go with no. But I'm actually kind of hyped. Also, you mentioned the starters that are going today. Today is not a must-win game. That's so cliche. But you got to take this one, right? You have the least threatening starter going for the Jays in Alek Manoah, who the Rays have faced twice in back-to-back outings. The first one, he looked untouchable, 7 shutty. And the second one, not so much. He couldn't even get out of the 4th inning. 3 2/3, 3 hits allowed, 3 runs allowed, 9 punches. So he will miss the bats. But he didn't do as hot the second time as he did the first time. So hopefully it's a little bit more like the second time for the Rays today. We'll see. You get to see that lineup come out. 7 runs yesterday didn't do it. That's not a usual thing for the Rays. You score 7, you should win that game. So hopefully the bats come alive, and then 7 runs will definitely be enough.
Well, you might. I don't know if 7 runs will be enough.
I hope so.
With this Blue Jays order and lineup and what they're throwing to the table. Like, just to kind of emphasize the point here, they lead all of MLB in homers. They've got 230 as a team. The next closest are the Braves with 214. Mind you, they have the second fewest strikeouts in all of baseball.
That's
all
crazy.
the power, but none of the strikeouts virtually. They have, as a team, 1,092 strikeouts, which is the only team that has fewer is the Astros. The Rays, by comparison, have 1,379 strikeouts, the second most in baseball. The Blue Jays are second in runs scored behind the Rays. Of course, they're second in batting average, first in team OPS. Their team OPS,
what is
Blue
it?
Jays team OPS, 799.
That is really good. My goodness. Yeah. No, again, I am glad the Rays are facing a really good team right now. This is only good news for the Rays. You want to warm up for the playoffs, this is it. And it's the best case scenario because you have such a big lead in the AL East. And I don't mean anything by it negatively. 9 games, it's a lot of games. I know there's still like 19 games to play. The Rays could go 10-9, 9-10, and still have a fantastic season. So just letting you know, I feel like this barometer comes at a great time for the Rays.
By the way, Vlad Guerrero Jr. has his 44 home runs are tied with his daddy. His daddy never had more than 44.
Look at that.
Yeah. Look, I think. Okay, Vlad, he may not win the Triple Crown, but I think he's going to take 2 or 3 categories. Okay. I think he takes the home runs and the batting average. The only reason that I don't think he would take the RBIs is because you have so many other hitters in that lineup that might swipe some RBIs from you. Marcus Sinas, Bo Bichette, Randall Grichuk, George Springer. Imagine if George Springer played more than a third of the season. Like, this team.
It's a good team.
It's a very good team.
I'm going to throw a little bit of shade here. So if you're a Blue Jays fan, sorry about this, but 2 out of 3 categories in the Triple Crown, I don't feel like that is so rare. I think Chris Davis.
For a guy who's 22 years old?
I think Chris Davis did that, Kevin Weiss. So,
man, you're hating on Vlad Guerrero. We praised Wander Franco and all these guys. And right now, they don't even hold a candle to what Vladdy's doing.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's very difficult to win the Triple Crown. And Vladdy's having a terrific season. But if I was a betting man and I'd have to go to betonline.ag, I would not put money that Vladdy's going to win the Triple Crown. And I don't think you should either, Kevin.
What if Vladdy was on the Rays? Would you think differently there?
I think he would definitely win the Triple Crown there, Kevin.
There we go. I gotcha. I see where your allegiances lie with that. Look, again, I hate to just be, this isn't a Blue Jays podcast by any means. Go to Locked On Blue Jays if you want some Blue Jays love, but you combine that offense with their pitching staff and really the starters that they would be able to roll out for a playoff series, from Ray to Ryu to Steven Matz, who's having a really good year, Manoah, and then Jose Barrios. I mean, they got their five. They've got their 5-6 guys right there. I don't think the bullpen is the greatest in the world, but I think they can just get by when you combine the starters and
we'll see,
and the offense there.
I think it's going to be a really fun series. Get ready for a good 3 tense games. Hold your pillows to your chest, your blankets, and it's gonna go. It's gonna be go time. I love it.
I'm gonna say there's at least one extra inning walk off. There's one.
Oh, so you're giving already a win to the Blue Jays?
I didn't say who it's going to be. I just think.
Oh, you mean like the last inning at bat?
Let me rephrase that. I'm sorry. One of these games will end in extra innings. One of these games will be so tightly back and forth contested.
I think so.
It'll be like a 9-8. Oh my gosh, how did they pull this one away? How did the Blue Jays do this? Or how did the Rays do this? I think something along those lines.
I think so. And that is why it's going to be fun. It's a great matchup. These two teams, they could meet each other in the ALDS. It's going to be fun.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, that wraps up this edition of the Locked On Rays podcast. Now, tell your smart device to play the most recent episode of the Locked On Bets and Locked On MLB podcast. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you.